Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasan Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nasupraya Shurabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhakti Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text number 1. Chapter is entitled Dhruva Maharaj Turns Home. Maitreya Uvacha He Utsahavaya Guru Krame Avanam Rayayu Sri Vitsapam Sahasashirasya Tata Gaurudhamata Madhovanam Vritya Didrikshaya Gata Maitreya Uvacha Ta evam utsanabhaya ukrame Kritvananama prayustri vistapam Sahashishirya sharapi tato gauromata Mato vanam britya didrikshaya gata Ta eva utsana bhaya ukrame Kritvanama prayayustri vitstapam Sahasashira sharapi tato guratma Madhyor vanam britya didrikshayagata tam eva utsana bhaya ukrame Kritavananam prayustri vitstapam Kritvanama prayushavitri vitstapam Madhyor vananam ritya dikshayagataha Maitreya uvacha Eva utsana vaya ukrame Manam prayusyu trivitsatam Rashashirashrapito murutmata Madhyor vanam britya didrikshayagata Triya uvacha Maitreya uvacha The great sage Maitreya continued Te, the demigod Evam, thus Utsahabhayam being freed from all fears Urukrame onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead whose actions are uncommon Kritavananam they offered their obeisances Prayayu they returned Vivishtapam to their respective heavenly planets Sahashashirashya Api also the personality of Godhead known as Sahashashirashya Tata from there Guru Mata getting up on the back of Garuda Madhovanam the forest known as Madhuvan Britya servant Jijikshaya wishing to see him Gata went Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great sage Maitreya told Vidura, when the demigods were thus reassured by the personality of Godhead, they were freed from all fears. After offering their obeisances, they returned to their heavenly planets. Then the Lord, who is non-different from the Sarasya Shirashya incarnation, got on the back of Garuda, who carried him to the Madhuvan forest to see his servant, Dhruva. Purport. The word Sarasya Shirashya refers to the personality of Godhead known as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Although the Lord appeared as Shirodakshaya Vishnu, he has been described here as Sarasya Shirashya Vishnu, because he is non-different from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. According to Srila Sanatana Goswami, in his Brihat Bhagavatam Rita, the Sarasya Shirashya personality of Godhead, who appeared at that time, was the incarnation known as Krishna-garpa. He created the planet known as Dhruvaloka for the habitation of Dhruva Maharaj. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swam Padantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Namashreshram Manuapi Satiputram Atra Svarupam Shri Rupam Tasya Grajam Urupurim Mathurim Gosvaratim Radha Kundam Girivaram Mahoradikamadavamsam Prapto Yasya Patidikirpaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadeshatarine. Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Goratvase Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopeshwa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusure Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Divaranya Krapadumado Shima Ratnaga Simastanaso Shila Radha Shila Govinda Devo Aleshli Layabir Sevyamana Smarami. Vancha Kalpatarum Vischa Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Durga me pade me nantasya, sakalat paragater muhur, swakripaya sthidanena, santa sanpavalambanam. In this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that Dhruva Maharaj is coming to the point which all of us have joined the Krishna consciousness movement to attain. Direct contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This pastime is so appreciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he used to recite this pastime with Gadadhar Pandit and Tota Gopinath practically on a daily basis. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all of his associates, Jagadananda Pandit, Swarup Damodar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Paramananda Puri, all of them would sit in Tota Gopinath and hear Gadadhar Pandit recite these pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj over and over and over again. And as soon as Gadadhar Pandit would finish the recitation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say it again. But this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj holds so much significance for us as Gaudiya Vaishnavas because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his later pastimes would hear these stories of Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj. Therefore, the examples of Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj should be our North Star in Krishna consciousness. The qualities which they cultivate, the example which they set, should be integrated into our own consciousness. Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto, he says, Tada punam mukta samasta bandhanas tadbhava bhavanu kritashaya-kriti. He's explaining that when one hears of the pastimes of Krishna and his associates, specifically the examples which come through the character of Krishna's devotees, tadbhava bhavanu kritashaya-kriti. The mood of their devotion, the qualities of their devotion rubs off on us through the process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we hear the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj, when we hear the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj, we should be thinking, what can I gain from this? What can I integrate into my own life to create a foundation for myself by which all my other services can be performed in a mood which assimilates the moods of the devotees we hear about in the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the previous chapter of this section on Dhruva Maharaj, there is a section where Narada Muni is come to meet King Uttanapad because King Uttanapad is feeling deep regret within his heart that he has offended Dhruva, and Dhruva has gone out into the forest and feeling fatherly affection. He's feeling anxiety about Dhruva's well-being. And Narada Muni, he recites this verse in order to give solace to King Uttanapad. He says, Sutushkaram karma kritva lokapalar api Prabhu. My dear King Uttanapad, what your son is going to achieve is generally not achieved even by those who are lokapalar. Lokapalar means those who are in control of this world. Agni is in control of fire. Varuna is in control of water. Vayu is in control of the wind. What they cannot achieve, your son, Dhruva Maharaj, will very soon achieve. So Lokapalar api Prabhu. He's saying, therefore, your son is Prabhu. And Srila Prabhupada in his purport, he explains that Prabhu means Prabhupada. Prabhupada means one who sets the example of pure devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada goes on to paraphrase the verse, Mahajano Yena Katasa Panta. That the path of Dharma is revealed through the example of Krishna's devotees. Lokapalar api Prabhu. What demigods in heaven are unable to achieve, your son is going to achieve. And what is that? Suduskaram karma kritva. Suduskaram means extremely difficult activity. Suduskaram karma. And Srila Prabhupada explains, what is Suduskaram? Suduskaram means very difficult to achieve. And he goes on to explain what is difficult to achieve. What is the most difficult to achieve within this world? The most difficult thing to achieve? Satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Suduskaram karma kritva lokapalar api Prabhu. So your son will be able to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, something which hasn't been achieved by these demigods who have been personally appointed to oversee the affairs of this world. Your son will achieve that. So Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport that this Suduskaram karma, this thing which is very difficult to achieve, Dhruva Maharaj achieved it by his determination. So the quality which we are meant to assimilate, the quality which we are meant to integrate into our own heart through the study of Dhruva Maharaj's pastime, is this quality of determination. Determination that in this life, I will achieve the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, while simultaneously aware, Suduskaram karma kritva, that to do this is extremely difficult. Srila Prabhupada used to explain that Krishna consciousness is sublime, it's easy, but it's simultaneously very difficult. And for those who have taken birth in Kali Yuga, we know the conditions which we've all been born into. We know the cultural ambiance which surrounds us. So that which is difficult to achieve for Dhruva Maharaj is even more difficult for us to achieve through our own endeavor. Therefore, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said, Kada chanam vitir yasmin duskaram sukaram vibet vishmiter viparitam syat Sri Chaitanya namanamita. That which is difficult to achieve becomes very easy through remembering Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that which is very easy becomes difficult when one forgets Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, our hope in Kali Yuga, our hope to achieve the same thing which Dhruva Maharaj has achieved, is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we have to see scientifically, how are we accessing the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? How do we evaluate within ourselves if we're actually taking shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy? Because it's very easy for us to become absorbed in our emotions in Kali Yuga. thinking I'm making so much advancement. I'm coming to the morning program, I'm chanting my rounds, I'm doing my service. But unless one is performing those activities in a mood of deep dependence on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, daily cultivating a feeling of helpless dependence upon Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, then all of those activities are Mahakripa Bina Kona Karme Bhakti Naya. It looks like bhakti, but Karme Bhakti Naya. Unless those activities have been infused with the kripa of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, it may appear to be bhakti, but actually it is not. Therefore, our advancement in devotional service requires us to systematically evaluate our taking shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So what is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And how do we evaluate it for ourselves? To see that that thing which Dhruva Maharaj is attaining within the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam can become a living reality for ourselves. None of us join this Krishna consciousness movement to simply fall short of the goal which Srila Prabhupada is offering. Anyone who is living in the ashram, cultivating a feeling of helpless dependence on Krishna on a daily basis, their mood should be, in this life, I will attain the same result as Dhruva Maharaj, come what may. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we get a clear understanding as to what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Ahodito Godaikye Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamo Nudo. The mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, it has arisen on the eastern horizon as if the sun and moon have risen simultaneously. And what have they given? E matta dui bai jivera agyana. Tamonasha kari koila tattva vastu dana. They are eradicating tamo nudo. They are eradicating the ignorance of Kali Yuga through tattva vastu dana. They are distributing the truths of Krishna. And these truths of Krishna, they're eradicating two things from within our heart. Agyana tamera nama kaye kaitava. Dharma artha kama moksha bancha adi sabha. The first mode of ignorance, form of ignorance which Lord Nityananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eradicate from our heart is this kaitava, this cheating propensity. Dharma prochita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaram satam. It is kicking out all forms of motivation, all forms of intent which do not align with the conclusions of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We can see that in the Krishna consciousness movement, especially nowadays, there's so many reasons why people can come in contact with devotees. There are many prospects available in the Krishna consciousness movement. There is the opportunity to look like a very pious person by accepting the lifestyle of a devotee and go on with your job, go on with the circumstances of your life, go on maintaining your material desires, but I wear tilak, I have neck beads, and I'm a very nice devotee. Dharma. One upholds the principle of Dharma in the name of being a devotee. Artha. Artha means that there's good facility. Good facility for profit. Kama, moksha. Kama and moksha are two sides of the same coin. So kama is the propensity to enjoy this world. And when one becomes frustrated with that material enjoyment, when one becomes frustrating trying to exploit the resources of the Krishna consciousness movement, one decides, let me leave the Krishna consciousness movement. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, Kamal Nudo, they are eradicating Kaitaba. They are writing Kaitaba, and simultaneously, along with Kaitaba, they are eradicating Krishna Bhaktira Badaka Yatta Shubha Shubha Karma. Shubha Shubha Karma. This means that one maintains an idea that let me do some good things in this world. Let me uphold the principles of my culture. Let me uphold the principles of my religious beliefs from the past. Let me maintain a pious life for myself, but not get too into pure devotional service. Otherwise, I have to sacrifice those pious activities. And ashubha means I'm a devotee, but sometimes I go around the corner and I light up a cigarette. Ashubha karma. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he explains, na dharmam shrutigana niruktam kilakuru. Raje radha krishna prachura paricharyam ihatanu. Sachi sun no nandish varapati stutatve guruvaram ukunda preshtave smaram param ajasram nanu mana. If you want to become freed from this dharma and adharma, then always remember that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from the son of Nanda Maharaj. Always remember his mercy and meditate on that mercy, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Always remember this and kick out this propensity for dharma and adharma. These are the two forms of ignorance which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is eradicating through tattva vastu. Tattva vastu, done. The gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the conclusions of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioned by Kaviraj Goswami. Tattva vastu Krishna Krishna Bhakti Prema Rup Nama Sankirtan Shaba Ananda Swarup. So what is eradicating this ignorance within our heart? Tattva vastu Krishna Krishna Bhakti Prema Rup Nama Sankirtan Shaba Ananda Swarup. Krishna himself, the process of Krishna Bhakti, the form of love which is emanating from Krishna himself, in the process of Nam Sankirtan. Sabha Ananda Swarup. This is the complete identity of transcendence, these topics of Tattva Vastu. So we can evaluate for ourselves how we're making advancement on the path of devotional service by systematically evaluating how is our intentions changing in Krishna consciousness. How are our activities changing in Krishna consciousness? It's not that we become devotees and we continue on with the same association and the same habits which we had before. Krishna consciousness means tadvag visarjo janata cha viplavo. Means everything should be turned around. Sometimes you'll see devotees with a t-shirt that says spiritual revolution. Revolution means things get turned around. Everything gets changed. What's on one side of us is different from what's on the other side of us. So 180 degrees means we're in a completely different position than we were before. But sometimes devotees, instead of doing a 180, they do a 360. They get a glimpse of what it is on the other side and then they come back. So therefore we should do a turnaround 180 and keep moving towards Krishna. So we have to see, how is Kaitava being eradicated? How is Shubha and Shubha Akarma being eradicated? And the way we can see how they're being practically eradicated is how much are we integrating the Tattva Vastu of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into our life. And how does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu make this Tattva Vastu available to the devotees is explained by Kaviraj Goswami. Chitro Sando Tamo Nudo. It's not that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only eradicates ignorance, but he also bestows auspiciousness. So where do we gain these Tattva Vastus? We gain these Tattva Vastus Dui Bhai Hridayera Shoila Andakara Dui Bhagavata Sange Karana Shakta Sattakara. That we can gain the Tattva Vastu of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We can accept the gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by taking shelter of two things. They make this world auspicious through making accessible two kinds of Bhagavats. Eka Bhagavata Bada, Bhagavata Shastra. Ara Bhagavata Bhakta, Bhakti Rasa Patra. Through the distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam and through the distribution of Gaurangera Sangijani Nitya Siddha Parimani. Through the distribution of his devotees and through the distribution of the Srimad Bhagavatam. When Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami first met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they set the example of how can we see if we're taking shelter of the Bhagavat? What is the attitude in which we have when we take shelter of the Bhagavat? And they say, Nicha Jati, Nicha Sange, Potita Adam, Hubi Sai, Humbi Pade, Goinu Janama. Nija Jati, I have come from a very low birth. Nicha Sange, I come from horrible association. Patita Adam, and I'm always in a fallen condition. Kubi Sai, Kumbi Pade, Goinu Janama. They don't come presenting all of their qualifications to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What they present at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu upon first meeting him is they say, look at our fallen condition. And if you want to show that you're Patita Pavan, you should show that mercy to us. Mattulo nasti papapmam nama paradi nakashanaha. Pari hari ilagjame himruvi urushotam. My dear Lord, I am a aparadi. I am an offender. And if I try to count everything which I've done, I myself feel deep shame within my heart. And then they finally end their petition to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by offering this prayer of submission, which was quoted by Yamunacharya and Stotaratna. Bhavantam eva nirancharantara prashanta nishesha manoratantara kadadamai kantiti nityakinkara vaharshashyami sanatha jivitam. That bliss will take place on the path of devotional service when we have a proper master. Therefore, nowadays in the Krishna consciousness movement, you can see that there's many books which anyone can go to the library and buy. You can go into Rasa Bihari Lal and buy every single book you can possibly imagine, not knowing who translated it and what their understanding was when they translated those books. But the way we actually make advancement on the path of devotional service is not through an independent study of the Tattva Vastu. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they set the example, Sanatha Jivitam, that my life will become successful, material desires will be eradicated, and I will be engaged in service when I have a fitting master. So later on, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhu Agya Dui Bai Aila Brindaban. Prabhu Agya, if you look in the Veda base at Prabhu Agya, what does Agya mean? Instruction, order. So Prabhu Agya. If you look in the Chaitanya Charitamrita on Vedabase and you type in this word Prabhu Agya, you'll see that the most significant moments of the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the life of the Goswamis of Vrindavan, it begins with Prabhu Agya. It begins with the order of the Master. So Prabhu Agya Dui Boy Oila Vrindavan. Rupa and Sanatan Goswami were sent to Vrindavan on the order of Prabhu. So therefore, if we're interested in the attainment of Dhruva Maharaj, if we're interested in the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we need to learn to see the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within Prabhu Agya, the order of the Master. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj, he says that if one wants their disposition to be changed, if one wants to be transformed, Naisam matis tavat uru karnangrim sparshyada nartho pagamoya artha mahiyasam pada rajobhishekam niskinchananam ninivritta yavat. If one is interested in becoming completely purified, completely freed from unwanted qualities, Maha Pada Rajobhishekam, one needs to take a bath in the dust of our Prabhu, the spiritual master, the devotees. So does this mean that you stand at the door of Jayadvaita Maharaj and you sweep up any dust which is at his doormat? No. Such attainment is not such a cheap thing. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on this verse, he explains that to take a bath in the feet of the devotees means to apply their instruction and meditate on their behavior. So therefore, our life in Krishna consciousness is not an independent one. We should always remember that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. And our stability in Krishna consciousness is completely based on the blessings of the Vaishnavas. And through the blessings of the Vaishnavas, the realizations of the Bhagavatam will be made available to us. Therefore, our access to Krishna, the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it comes through his associates. And through the association of the Bhagavats, we gain realization of the Bhagavatam. Aradayo Bhagavan Vrajeshas Tanayas Tadama Vrindavanam Ramyam Kachadupasanam Rajavadur Vargena Yakalpita Srimad Bhagavate I'm mixing them up. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam Amala Puram Premam Pumartho Maham. The spotless authority for the conclusions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which we are meant to access from the Bhagavatam, comes through the association of Gaurangera Sangijani Nitya Siddha Parimani. The associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose only life and soul is the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and cultivation of helpless dependence upon his mercy. So therefore, when we read the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj, we shouldn't think that this is not in relationship to Krishna. We should see that the determination of Dhruva Maharaj to execute the order of Narada Muni is how we can access Krishna through the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates. Hare Krishna. Yes. Narada Muni Prabhu, Archita Prabhu. I think Narada Muni is motioning.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you. Just want to first say thank you. I was thinking about this whole pastime with Dhruva Maharaj and this aspect of determination. And I was thinking about that statement that you made that Srila Prabhupada is giving something so special, and it would be so foolish for us to not take advantage of that. And I was just reflecting on how Dhruva Maharaj, as glorious as it is that he's receiving darshan of Kshirodakshay Vishnu, the Gaudiya Vaishnav, especially in our line, Srila Prabhupada is aspiring for something even higher than that. So what to speak of the intensity of the determination and the focus and the fixatedness of what we should be wanting to attain in our lives, and then how nicely you tied that in of how that comes through the mercy of the Vaishnav. And I was thinking of the verse, Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tataguru tasyate katitarhyata prakashante mahatmana, that the one who has implicit faith in Guru and Krishna, the entirety of the purport of the Vedas becomes revealed within the heart. And then simultaneously, how amazing it is that we're so unqualified, yet we're being, I guess, encouraged to aspire for the highest thing based on the mercy of the Vaishnava, like Srila Prabhupada. I mean, how fortunate are we? I was just reflecting on that, and just feeling immense gratitude for your class, and I'm feeling much more inspired to take my spiritual life more seriously, so thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Any questions, Prabhu? Oh, Archita Prabhu. Archita Prabhu is the reason why I'm giving class today, due to his mercy. He's my long-time well-wisher, practically since I've been in the movement, encouraging me, and always. Thank you, Archita Prabhu, for the opportunity.
Thank you. I exactly wanted to speak on this point, because as a person who scheduled classes for decades and have heard no so many times, it's so refreshing when you ask somebody the night before and they say yes. And Prabhupada drove home that point in a letter to Satsvarup Maharaj. He said, it's very nice that you're studying and preparing to give lectures to students, but he said, you should be ready to present this philosophy on a moment's notice. So so many brahmacharis here, I want you to take that point to heart. Don't think that you need days and weeks and months of study to give a class. If you're actually fulfilling the purpose of brahmacharya, which is to study, to learn, then you should be ready to share that knowledge at a moment's notice. So thank you very much for this fine example. First you accepted, and then you delivered. You delivered the fact clearly that you are studying this philosophy and living this philosophy, which is what we're all supposed to be doing. Not just hearing it and contemplating it, but living it. And when you do that, Krishna and Guru become pleased, and they, Yasya Deve Para Bhaktir, they give you that knowledge that you can share with others. And not just knowledge, experience. You're an experienced preacher, you travel, you preach constantly, and therefore when you're put on the spot, you can deliver. So thank you very much for that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I offer this class today to Archita Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for today's class. You mentioned one point that we should take the teachings and the pastimes of Dhruva and Prahlad as the North Star in our Krishna consciousness. We see in both Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj's life that they were able to carry out their spiritual life possibly without any association of devotees. So is that a hint that it is possible to continue your spiritual life and even please the Supreme Lord without the association of devotees?
Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj, they were always associating with the instruction of Narada Muni. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he came to this New York City with no association, but his fixity in the instruction of the spiritual master is what protected him. So there is what we can emulate and what we can imitate. You should see that you're able to digest what's on the menu before ordering it. So according to our ability to accept the instruction of the spiritual master and experience the association of the Guru within that instruction, to that degree we can be protected. But we also see in the Bhagavatam that in the pastime of Maharaj Bharat, he was without association. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita explains that Krishna Bhakti Janma Hoilam Mula Sadhu Sangha Krishna Premi Teno Puna Mukhya Anga. That the root of Krishna Bhakti is the association of the devotees. And Kaviraj Goswami explains in this same chapter from Adi Lila that the devotees provide two types of inspiration. Tatodu Sangha Uksrajya Satsu Sajeta Bhutiman Santa Eva Sachindanti Mano Vyasangam Uktibihi. They cut off material attachments. Mano Vyasangam Uktibihi. Through their Santa Eva Sachindanti. Through the words which they speak. And simultaneously, Shada Bhaktir Shada Ratir Bhaktir Anukramisyati. They also give devotion. So in order for us to be protected on the path of devotional service, we need association which cuts off unwanted qualities, unwanted habits, and unwanted intentions, and simultaneously awards us with divine aspiration. So there's things within the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj which we need to see, are we able to digest if we integrate it into our life. So I would say it's a case-by-case basis. How much have we assimilated the instruction of the spiritual master to the degree that we see the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within that association? I don't know if we have time, but I think everyone wants to go to breakfast, and I think I've spoken overtime. It's 9 o'clock, right? Yeah. So you can come up afterwards. I just want everyone to, they're all very busy with Harinam, so I don't want to hold them any longer. So you can come up after. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande.